All right, and we're back. All right, welcome to the Shop Class Podcast. Tonight we got a special episode. We got a great teacher in the house, entrepreneur, and craftsperson, Kyle Thompson. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys all doing?
All right, and you're teaching over at Irwin Technical College. You want to give us like an overview? What kind of program do you have over there?
So I run a carpentry program. I kind of think the name kind of makes you think of a older time, carpentry. I was trying to get the school, like, can we change it to residential and commercial construction carpentry? Because we do everything. We do formwork. We do, commercial roofing. We do everything. Rebar tying, siding, finished carpentry. So we have a 14-month, 1,200-hour program. So it'd be the same amount of hours that you would get in an apprenticeship in a 14-month period of time, minus the OJT hours, kind of all jam-packed in there. And so that's kind of the benefit where the school kind of prides themselves on a career in a year, so to speak. And right now, my entire class right now has all their tuition paid for. So they're actually, none of them are paying zero tuition. So it's free because we're you'll see Hillsborough County Public School below it. We're not like a for-profit, we're making $70,000 off of students. It's part of the county that I've been teaching for since 2011. And so it's a public school. And it's kind of weird because there's like crossover with K-12, with what we do. We do a lot of the same stuff connected to the school district. So it's a little funky, but I really enjoy it. And we have, we have all these different programs under one roof. We've got HVAC, we've got electrical, we've got plumbing, solar, welding, automotive. Had a diesel program. We're going to probably possibly get a marine repair program. You name it. Nursing, we have a dentistry program. You can get your teeth cleaned. You can get your teeth worked on, like you name it. We have a huge culinary building, a whole 2 culinary departments. So it's big. So it's kind of weird. Like we still have some of the struggles that a public, high school would have, but then we're a college, if that makes any sense. So, but things have changed a lot lately. Some, different things have really been, we've got a really great administration that's really been pushing the, pushing the mark and doing a lot of great things for our students. So a real great place to work so far,
Dude, that's great. And so is it not, what's the difference between this and like, let's say a community college?
So I attended a community college, right after high school. That was the first thing I did. And I went and got like an associate's degree. It took me 3 years because I was working full time. And the difference between what we do in a community college would be, I go to community college, I got to take English, science, math, so I can work towards that associate's degree or, have that and I can transfer that into a bachelor's degree. That's kind of the principles of that type of schooling. We're a technical college. So we have cosmetology, barbering, which are 2 different separate programs, massage therapy, all these different, you can go be a CNA. So each program has a specific certification. So my class, I'm an OSHA 500 trainer, authorized trainer for the industry. So I give all my guys OSHA 30. So they kind of are more marketable because in the state of Florida, I know it's different, where Matt's at in Illinois, that's where I'm from. Down in Florida, it's one of the hardest states to be a contractor. So since we have Hurricane Andrew changed everything. And it takes you have to have 4 years, supervised, experience. You can't have someone sign off. You have to have tax documents saying, hey, I worked with this contractor for 4 years, kind of like the journeyman process, what you do with like a typical apprenticeship. And you have to have those backed hours. You have to take 3 tests, 7 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, however many hours long. So it's a big process to be a contractor. So for me, I can't just like hand out contractors licenses, but a lot of our programs have certificates, things that basically trying to make everyone career ready, welders that can get their, American Welding Society type of certification and go make money out of the gate. And where I'm at, my guys could go out and start a handyman business and make really good money on the program if they wanted and kind of understand where's building code, what they can do and what they can't do, or go work for a company and kind of, hey, I'm going to work under this GC, learn, eventually get my license and go that route.
So I got a question, another comparison question. What's the difference between a trade school, which I know is like a private company, and the technical college, which I assume is part of public money? What is the difference there?
So this, and I'm gonna, so just because I have a little experience, I think this will kind of answer the question, but maybe not, because there's some different trade schools. There's our school, there's Pinellas Technical College, different trade schools. But right before I came to Irwin Tech, I was a director of education and safety with Associated Builders and Contractors, and so when I was with them for a short period of time, they had 300 apprentices, and so they would work full time. And then the contractors that they worked with would, pay for their books and schooling, and they would have to work a full day, and then a couple days during the week, stay up till 9 o'clock, sitting on Zoom, or, this was kind of during COVID, but then, had a community college that they were tied to that could go in and kind of get some of their education that way. So we're just a different, that's over 4 years, and we're in that 14 months. So for us, I know there's technical college and trade schools and different things of that regards, but that's kind of like how I fit in with the construction industry compared to, we have the union is right above. Actually, there's a lot of different things at our school. Right above me, I have the regular union where they're hiring. One of my students graduated last year, and he went up, and now he's a union electrician. So he's in that program to be, a journeyman after his 4 years. So he can actually, they're right above my office. They're part of the Hillsborough County School District. So there's a big kind of umbrella that we all sit under. And a lot of the inner workings, I'm not, I've dabbled in a little bit, know a little bit about it, but there's a lot to it, so to speak.
Do they get college credit for going to the technical college?
Yeah, so for us, there's a coalition of education. There's a state certificate that they'll get, so they'll get a certificate of completion. But different programs, plumbing, you can't go out and be a licensed plumber. HVAC, you could get, certification to have, work with EPA and different things. So every program offers a different, unique certification. Automotive, we can get things. I don't know if they can offer ASC. I'm trying to think what requirements they have, but every program has the ability to get students ready for careers, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. I really like some of the things I saw that you guys were doing on the Instagram here. It looks like you guys are building houses and whatnot. But before we get too far down that road, we gotta go back into Kyle's history. We gotta go.
Buckle up.
We got to go to the biggest question of the night, and I can't even handle the question. We got to pull in Duke Lazowski for the big question. So yeah, Duke, you think he's ready?
I think he's ready. Yeah, we heard a little bit about the community college, right, after high school. So the most important question of the night: did you have shop class growing up?
I did. I came, so I'm kind of by Matt. He's from Taylorville, and I'm from Rockford, Illinois. So it's the screw capital of the world. I guess they want to call us, for Rockford products from East Wing Hammers, Tester Paint. Everybody I grew up with worked in a machine shop, and we were on the number 2 bomb list during World War II because we made all the fasteners and all the components that kept the American country. Yeah. So, when other countries were going to want to bomb us, type of thing. And so, all that stuff shipped out. It's kind of a rough area, and ended up moving down here. But long story short, in Rockford, we had all the trades program. I had small gas engines in junior high. I guess I'll start in junior high. I had shop class in junior high and small gas engines and automotive and welding. And I graduated, 25 years ago, or wherever it was. And they would actually put us on a bus. We're on block schedule. They'd ship us out to kind of like what Matt's doing, which is what every school should be doing. Shipped us out, built the house from the ground up, sold it, did it again, built the house from ground up and sold it. And I keep pitching that idea. I've been pitching it for years. And just the other day, they were like, we can't do that. It's liability. You can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, they're doing it everywhere. Everyone's doing it. And that's what every school should be doing. It's the best. Matt's like, that's what everyone should be doing is what Matt's doing. And so my experience in
agree.
schools, and then always wanted to go in the trades, but just got shoved into the, you need to go to college and get a bunch of degrees that are worthless, which is kind of what I did.
How dare you say that? No, it's the ironic thing that, listen, college is great and everything, but it's theory. It's like really, really deep theory. But I really like, I don't want to jump ahead, but I saw you had a quote about, they shouldn't teach anything that you can't make money from. And that is a fantastic concept. If you think about the English teachers, I'm sure they got great theories and everything, but they're not writing books or blogs or TV shows it's pretty rare. Whereas the contractors and the shop teachers, they're all like carpenters and auto mechanics on the side. And, they're always doing stuff like that. So, I think we bring in a lot of experience and job placement into the classroom that's much needed because, what are you going to do? Have everybody to go to college and just be pushing paperwork all day? Someone's got to make something, So I think we always throw daggers at the other side, basically. But I think to be fair and balanced about it is kind of like it's theory, and you need some hands-on experience. Whether you're writing a book, then write a book. Let's see you do it. If you're building a house, then you got to learn how everything gets put together.
And I think the big thing that quote was meant for me personally as a shop teacher, and this was kind of another contractor that I currently took his job or whatever. And the big thing is I went through what they had this initiative called STEM guitar. And so we were building guitars, got Lutherie tools, and we're building guitars with high schoolers and middle schoolers. And I kind of gave that up and said, well, this is great. And it's exposing them to, the STEM aspects where they're, plugging it into a computer and doing the setting intonation and stuff. But I thought, how can I get them a job doing that? And so that's what we kind of focus more on, not building kitschy little projects for us. Let me get them as close to industry as possible. And I think that was kind of like my main focus of that quote too. Like, how do I get them, like what's Matt, I'm sorry, Matt, this is gonna be a problem. You're gonna be like, what Matt's doing, and have him working on a house so that they can go continue on and do that. And that's, ideally is.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Noah's doing home construction. Noah, where do you think this fits in? And what's your current situation with the house? Want to give us an update?
Things are going well. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my earphones were in and out. What's it called? For my stuff, it makes a lot more sense because that's what I came from the building industry. Like if somebody was like, hey, you need to make furniture or make a guitar, I would start sweating. So really it just plays to what I'm already, I was a framer for a long time and then always worked for builders and then had my own contracting company. So really it's just what played best to me. Then I just saw it makes more sense. It does. Like students, at least in my area, it's very blue collar. And so it's really what the students really need, I think. It's easier to get support too. Just like it's easier to get a house funded, I think, than it is to get other projects funded.
Yeah. And Matt, what do you think about bringing your program nationwide? I think we've talked about this. Is there any headway on that? I think the same thing. Like I agree with Kyle. Like, why aren't we building houses for the community or businesses? How come we're not helping businesses in the town or the local residents? Why are the kids stuck in a building just working on theories? I don't understand this. So are we making progress, Matt? What's going on?
I feel like and I'm sure it's just because of the algorithm. Well, it's probably both. I keep finding more and more, either they'll come across on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn even, of school programs that are building houses. So I feel that shop as a whole is starting to come back ever since we all got together, I mean, first time I talked to you and Barbara Check in 2019, or let's call it right before COVID times, right? Around COVID times. I feel like shop is coming back because everybody complains about the same thing and not having, somebody they can call to fix this or fix that. So I think the schools obviously have paid attention to that. Of course, you got plenty of TV shows like IGTV or HGTV and DIY, and then of course Mike Rowe and all the things he does, and on and on. So I think programs are coming back. Obviously, Noah got to start his. Frank, got to ramp his up here the last couple of years. So I don't know if I'm just finding more and more because of the social impact that I think is probably the biggest thing that we've done to help this out, whether it's create something kind of like Noah. I mean, Noah called me asking, I don't take any credit for this, but he called just asking for advice on things and stuff. And he's not the only one I've talked to in that scenario. So I think it's the good thing is I'm finding more. I don't know how long they've been around. So at the very least, the ones that are out there, we're starting to get more connected with each other, which is going to help the growth and push no matter what. Just like, with Shop Class Podcast, everything, getting connected with all these teachers, Harbor Freight Tools for Schools, getting connected with Kyle and all the teachers through that, So I think we are all finding each other. Hopefully, it has, I don't take any responsibility for any growth or programs starting, obviously. But I think there's been enough of us that have done enough on social media now in the shop teacher arena that we've gotten connected. So we're finding each other. And I think that's what makes it feel like things are coming back. So I hope it's a combination of both. But at the very least, we're all getting connected. The community's awesome. I mean, a lot of that also goes back to you and Barbercheck, Ron, for starting this whole thing on Shop Class Podcasts. Of course, getting connected in with companies, like Sashco, for example, taking big strides and steps for what they're doing. I was just talking to Charlotte, some of the big plans for next year. I won't let the cat out of the bag right now. On that, we'll keep that a secret, see what we can get pulled together. But because I will say that because of us knowing Noli now, that was a huge thing that is going to play into something Sashko's trying to do, and for next year IBS. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think the community is becoming closer and more well connected, and I think that is playing a very positive role in shop class, because just like Kyle's able to say, when the teacher's like, or the administration's like, oh, we can't do that, it's liability, blah blah blah, and he's like, well, people are doing this all over, because here's the thing, we have more injuries in PE than we have in shop class, so dial that one up. And we do, and that's required to graduate. So throw that argument off the table now, because so. And that's what our principal said. He's like, insurance is no different than us taking care of everybody in PE class. So,
yeah. And it's happened for me too. Like, I never really looked at home building and thermal bridges and thermal brakes and really, and solar. I was doing cars, diesel, gasoline, and then also electric was been the kind of the popular thing with me. But now we're doing it. This is from a project we're doing now. We're doing it like an off-grid trailer. It's small enough that it actually fits in the shop, and then we're going to put the trailer underneath it later. But I'm combining the wood shop teacher skills with my electrical wiring skills, and we're putting those together and having the kids run the project. That's the other part, is that, these kids get a chance to actually run a project. And so we're kind of like acting more as coaches. So things are happening, but it's not a dedicated, like a space where there's no bells and whistles like all day long. It's still adhering to like the normal schedule of school, which makes it kind of difficult. And there's like the AC panel. And then they're wiring circuits. We're learning about GFIs. It's awesome, So I think I've been influenced by Matt as well. So Kyle and Noah, we owe a lot to Matt. I will say it's pretty cool. And I'm glad to share ideas. And if anybody's listening to this and you're thinking about starting a program, we are here to support you. That's the whole thing. We're trying to, get more shop teachers connected. And that's the whole thing of it behind Shop Class Podcast. That's what was worrying me, is that we work in these silos, and then the internet came along with social media. And of course there's negative stuff, but we connected all the positivity. And so that was pretty cool. So anyway, yeah. All right, well, let's go back.
I will say, Ron, one good spin-off of COVID was this, right? I mean, you guys already had the podcast, right, in a kind of a traditional sense, but the fact that we had to, it was oh shoot, what do we do now? Let's all get together and talk. And then, like I said, the conversation became so good. It was like, hey, why don't we just start recording, kind of thing, and kind of led to what our 4-minute Matt is now. I mean, we owe a little bit of, and not just our industry, but COVID did bring us together, realized we could bring us all together in a, just like the Jensen said it would, phones that had TV screens, right? The future's here.
Dude, it's crazy. So speaking of social media and using it for positivity, Kyle, you want to walk us through your Instagram? What's kind of like the latest project you guys are working on? And we can kind of take a look at some of the projects you guys are doing.
Right now, see, we have so many programs, I forget. We have drafting, and they drew up a project for, it's 457 square feet, I think. I can't remember what it is, how big it is. It's pretty darn big, but it's a plumbing trainer. So we have our plumbing program.
Oh, cool.
And so we're basically building a trainer that will have, laundry hookup and a kitchen and a bath and a stand up. That's actually a sit panel house. These pictures here. And this is another thing. This sit panel house, believe it or not, the $50,000 from Harbor Freight, I left at the high school that I was teaching at with another teacher there. And the teacher that took my position, who's a great friend of mine, he's the one that you'll see in the Mandolin series when we get to that. But he used that money, bought this sit panel house for, I think it was $23,000 out of Structall, out of right here in Tampa. And they put it up with their students, and they had it fully, he had 2 Tesla packs and had it solar coming off, fully sustainable, or not sustainable, but, off-grid type of thing, running a mini split and just all wired up with a full panel. And so then, long story short, it was too big for his area. And so we brought it over to our school and this, that, and the other. And so this is, actually these guys shouldn't be walking backwards this video. I'm like, so this is like a hip roof trainer that we were just moving around. We do a lot of.
Wait, what is a SIP panel?
Steel.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry. It's steel insulated panels. So just like you have your foundation, these plans call for a concrete foundation, or you could do we'll build like a 24 by 24 wood foundation, and then they basically have channel that goes around, and then you just lock these steel panels into one another. And they're the ones that fail. You do a blower door test. We have a coworker in automotive that did one, and he failed it. And the guy's like, hey, I'm going to go open this window and then do it again. Because it's like basically a refrigerator. They're really energy efficient. It's just styrofoam and steel.
Oh. Is this it right here?
Similar. There's no OSB on it. It's steel on both sides. So if you go to Structall, STRUCTALL. You say, yep, STRU struct CTAL. It might be 2L, yeah. It should not structural, Structall. It's called Struct. Yeah, so Structall, that's the company that makes them here, but it's steel on both sides. So Struck.
Okay. Maybe Peter can find it and send it in the comments.
Yeah, it's like STRUCTALL or AL. But anyway, so that's what those plans are for. And right now, since we're in the midst of this huge plumbing trainer that's sitting on the side of the building, and my principal, she's amazing, and she's like, "Hey, I want you to build that over here." I was like, "Yeah, totally could," but they already did the whole, forms, footing, foundations, and we didn't have it's just they've already learned that. So, obviously in the best interest of the students, we probably won't get that up with this cohort that we have. But yeah, this is the stuff here.
Like this.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Interesting. Okay.
Structall, manufacturer of structural.
Never heard of this before. I didn't even know anything about this. I would say they all fit together.
Yeah, and our building was like 23,000 for, a sub 500 square foot house, or maybe it's sub 600. I think it's like 587, and it comes with engineered plans. You get prints for everything, and then you just lay a track. Those set in it. You adhese the side, snap them together, and screw it in the bottom. They pass wind code, hurricane code. I mean everything, like high wind, high velocity, high wind zone, which is us. And
so no studs.
Well, to the ceiling, you have to put a load-bearing wall for the support down the middle. Ours in the Sanibel is a plan. It's like a 14-foot to the peak, and so you have to run a middle 14-foot to the peak where the roof panels screw in. And actually, I'll have to send William Knight your way, because he's like the MacGyver of shop teachers, and he's like very, to himself, and he's not, not like me that's putting stuff on social media. He is the mastermind of this. It's like, yeah, I built it in 2 weeks. Kids did it, and then we took it down. Like he's beyond awesome. And he took my job at Middleton, where I used to teach that we inherited this home from.
Noah, have you used this at all?
No, I've never messed with SIP panels before. We went and visited somebody that it was that, but it was OSB on either side, and it was pretty cool. It's interesting. I think it's an awesome concept.
If you go to Instagram and you look up MHS construction, you'll see the house that we actually have, and you can see the high school program that's got Middleton High School construction, and that's going to be Mr. Knight that had that. Anyways,
yeah. Okay, is this it?
It's no, yeah.
No, that's Nick.
Oh,
he's a hard freight runner. We've had Nick on here.
Oh, okay. There
He's from San Diego.
I'll have.
Oh yeah. There we go. Oh,
is that Nick? That's cool. It's MHS. My bad. Yeah, MHS building construction. That's what it is. All one word. MHS building construction. And so
got it.
That's there you be. And so that first video right there, that's the one there. This is where he walks in, and it's all full on solar and everything.
Wow.
He's actually narrating everything he's talking about. This is like the house.
That's pretty cool. Matt, what's your thoughts on this SIP system?
So I'm like Noah. I've only seen the SIP panels.
Those are Tesla
insulated panels. Oh, nice.
Yeah, those are from the car.
With the OSB. Right, oh no, you're fine. I too have only seen the system with the OSB, but I mean, there's so much out there now. Like, this concept does not surprise me that it's out there, which is pretty cool. Obviously,
nice.
We know Andrea and stuff with offside dirt and everything. I mean, this is kind of right up their alley with all this modular stuff and offsite building and things like that. So pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
Wow. That is cool.
If you guys ever saw the video where it's the guy's named Ross or something, he's in Sarasota. He does a bunch of funny videos. He's a big guy on social media. He bought a Tesla. He took the whole battery packs and drivetrains out. He put a 6-cylinder engine in it and brought it in for an oil change for like videos. Well, the battery, the whole drivetrain that he did that with, William bought that car, and then he peeled it back like a sardine can, took the Tesla packs, because he bought it with his own money, put it on his house, and they brought 2 in, because he had like 8 of them in his garage or however many are in the car. He brought them in and was like, I'm going to hook them up to this wall. And then he bought an electric motor and a Volkswagen Fastback. And I got one of the companies in California. I'm trying to think of the name. They're huge. They do VWs all the time. But I got
EV West.
EV West. Yeah, I was in cahoots with EV West. They shipped us out a motor to build a whole car, an electric car, and that was the next thing. And it's the first project that Williams like too much going on that he got rid of everything. But that was why he has those Tesla packs to build a house, a car, just multi-faceted stuff.
We're all connected, Ron. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, this is wild. Yeah, EV West is my old jam. I've been buying from them and became friends with them. Like from the beginning, they were just like one garage. And then I've done a bunch of stuff with them. They're awesome. You know, Michael Bream is the leader over there. And a whole bunch of companies have spurred out of there. Like former employees moved on and created something else. It's pretty wild. But those Tesla modules are super powerful. Those are 5.3 kilowatts each. And pretty cool. So that house is off grid. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he had solar. I think it was just kind of temporarily hooked up just to kind of show him. And that the solar was going to those Tesla batteries and powering the whole thing. And then a week later they tore it down. And the rest of the videos were kind of, so that was him. And, there's kind of their, that this was his class here. And so it's, inner city high school, pretty rough area where actually I'm right across the street from him. But this was actually this is a project when I was there. Actually, him and I were there together teaching for 1 year. It was fantastic. But we have a steel stud contractor, and they said, hey, we're limited on space. We're working out in a grass field. My classroom for 12 years was a 40 by 40 computer lab, and then a grass field behind it. It was pretty depressing. You can see this is all we had. We had a shed. It took a long time and got that shed, which I'm thankful for all the things that we had. But my contract industry partner came in, KHS&S, one of the largest specialty contractors in the state, and their design team drew up this over each door, and with the bulkheads and the sub ceiling, and they drew up these plans and said, "Hey, we're going to build this," and that's what we built, so that you still had access and egress and didn't have to worry about emergency exit and stuff. But it was a pretty good little project there.
That's awesome. So you expanded your classroom.
Yeah. So that was the program I was in for a long time. And they would come in, and this is like a lead, and I think is a superintendent or whoever. And so they'll bring their safety guys out. This company took us to National Gypsum. They took us to different active job sites, hired guys out, and so they'd come demonstrate, and then we would build. They'd come back, check on us, and so that was kind of my goal, is to always try to have the different trades really teach us from the get-go.
So that's one of the things, connecting industry to your classroom. What's the journey like doing that with this company? Or, give us an example of connecting your classroom to industry.
It's huge. I don't know. If you hear my dog running around in the background, let me know. I'll make her.
No, you're good. It filtered out.
All right. But
this kid's a star. He's dancing in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of older. He was dancing, singing in the rain. I think he was doing a little thing.
Yeah, that's great.
I think the biggest benefit, because at this high school, I had 150 kids every year. And with those 150 kids, this is actually something they built for WWE. It was at a SummerSlam. It was a big project. So they had us film this, and this video that we filmed, they used for their SummerSlam thing or whatever. But anyways, long story short, they I would have like $1,700 for 150 kids for a whole year. So divide that up and expect how I had to get by. And so Sashko, when I was out at the Sashko,
you could buy some screws and bolts and nuts. You can't get anything.
Yeah, you're like, all right, I can buy a 2x4 per student. So you had to get creative, where I was getting my trailer and picking up old cement block from people tearing walls down on Craigslist, and like trying to, I was literally digging through dumpster. And that's what Sashko said through this thing. Like, he doesn't currently dig through dumpsters. He used to dig through dumpsters, at my current school, I don't have to do that. And things have changed with the budget, and things have gotten better. But the original journey was long and tough. And to go back to answering your question, partnering with KHS&S, they donated the steel studs. They gave us screws. They gave us the tools for it. And it kind of put us on the map a little bit in terms of wow, I need to do this with more industry partners and try to connect with that and build from that. And so that was eye-opening for me to see they're bringing these materials. And then the president of this company went to a board meeting with myself, and we went down there and we're like, look, we really see the benefit of, what the students are doing. We really need an overhang for their working out in the dirt. And now William has a huge overhang, a huge, pad, fans. They built like a $300,000 expansion from that, industry partner going down to bat at the board for his program. So it's huge benefit.
Wait, the industry partner went to the board meeting?
Yeah, so you get like 2 minutes, you get 3 minutes to talk, and I had my speech prepared for 3 minutes, and we went down there like, there's a lot of people, now you all get 2. And I'm like, dang, I had it all, so yeah, like on the fly. But he went down and was he went to bat and was like, hey, I'm working with these guys, and they're a fantastic, great things that they're doing. It would be great to see the school district put some money into this, because I went down there saying, look, I've been doing this since 2011. It's 2019. It would be great. I think we've proven that we're not going anywhere, and these students are deserving, and it really changed things by having the actual district invest. And then after that, district's like, oh, you should have talked to us first, this, that, and the other. But sometimes you guys, I'm like the squeaky wheel or whatever you want to call it.
Yep. That's awesome. And what a great thing that the company went down to the board meeting with you. I would encourage companies, the thing is, it's hard to break the mold. If the board is not used to working with companies, they are like, they might be a little bit absent to the calls to work with a partner, and they might not understand what that partner wants. Although for some reason, Pearson Education is pierced through all the schools. That partnership is rock solid. But but partnerships with companies that want to help the school is always shaky. So, and it's across the board. This is across the whole United States. So it takes an innovative teacher to take a risk, to go to a board meeting, and then a partner to go to the board meeting and kind of break the mold. And it's not like, I think the people people who run the schools, once they see the benefit, they will understand it. But it's probably hard to understand because they're coming from academics, and we're coming from academics with trades. And so it's kind of like a difficult thing for people to understand, I think, sometimes, just to be fair to both sides. But yeah, if there's an administrator listening to this, please open the door to let your teachers work with, with companies from the outside to benefit everyone, So pretty cool. Nick, what are your thoughts on the these SIP panels? Do you have experience with this, and what do you think of it from a firefighter point of view?
Just like Matt and Noah have said, I went to the SIP school in West Virginia for a class, and then in that class they showed what's called hot balling, so you can do vertical chases. You heat up a 1-inch ball bearing, and you drop it vertically down the wall to be able to get to your horizontal chase. And then we did put blow torches on the EPS foam, and it burned, but it was self-extinguishing as far as it didn't keep the flame going. But the overall OSB and everything, that still degrades pretty quick in a fire. So that's where, I like the idea. And yeah, that was my teacher.
Okay.
What do you call it? And I like the idea and how it thermally breaks everything, and the ease of construction. There is a lot less waste on the job site since everything's done in the factory and cut your windows are all cut out. You can buy blank panels and then cut them on site, but then you create a lot of waste. But I've never seen the metal skins. I've seen companies that offer polyurethane foam and turn locks, and then different faces, OSB on one side and then tongue and groove on the other, or metal on one side and wood OSB or plywood on the other. So, and then I think it was 2010 I did did the house with Extreme Home Makeover down in Texas.
That's right. I remember that one. That's cool. Duke, coming from a middle school perspective, how do you introduce building trades to the young kids coming up?
Just got to talk about it in class. They're always, the guidance counselors are promoting career readiness, but they never come to like the shop classes to say, hey, here's another avenue for you. They're promoting. I don't know what they're touching upon, but first day you'll do your introduction. And in my room, you go from your basic wood shop using hand tools all the ways up to laser engravers, CNC routers, 3D printers, where, there's companies that promote, they may not have a 3D printer, or the person's older and may not have the experience, but they want something 3D printed. They'll ship it out to somewhere like Send Cut Send, so you'll promote the trades. There's always people who needs electrician, landscaper. Landscaping businesses is big around here. Building is still big around here. So you just expose them to it. And I even say to them all the time, we had our school district actually has a high school program set up for future educators. Okay, so they're thinking about it, right? So they have a program set up. We've met with the kids a bunch of times. Recently, they went to the high school to shadow a high school teacher. They went to the middle schools to shadow a middle school teacher. I had a kid in my room. And then next month they're going to the elementary schools. So it's nice, if you go to college for teaching, you may not be in a classroom until your sophomore year. Like, how do you know if you like working with kids? At least they're giving you an advantage there. But you say, look, guys, you don't have to pick a career in middle school, but you should start thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Is this something close to you? Is this one of the programs?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. There's always a shop teacher shortage, but there's no program to get them ready for it. That they do a lot of getting the kids ready if they want to be an English or math teacher. They have plenty of programs for those. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So let's switch gears a little. And Kyle's actually multifaceted, which is so cool being a shop teacher, because you could just try so many different things. So Kyle, can you let's shift gears, and do a little drifty burnout and take us down. You use your builder skills, but in an automotive platform. You want to tell about this crazy thing? You got this ambulance that's an off-grid. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so kind of started out, I don't know how many years ago, but I've always been into automotive stuff. I've had, I don't know, close to 40 cars, a lot of them old, 1950, a lot of cars from 1960s. And anyway, so I put a duck call on the blow-off valve on a Subaru WRX. So every time you shift, it go, meow. Long story short, I had like 1 million views or something a long, long time ago. And they're like, hey, do you want to monetize it? And I was like, sure. And I got a check for like $800. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I never thought about it. Never filmed any videos for like,
oh my God, this?
Yeah. And so then I just kind of revisited and was like, oh, hey, maybe I should dabble on this. So I started this modern greaser channel and started filming antics with cars and trying to do like the Hoovy's Garage type of thing. And if I would have stuck with it, and fully dove into it, I might be doing that. But it's kind of like, it's fun and a hobbyish, but it's more hollow and not as rewarding as, I don't want to be that sappy guy that's like, oh, teaching is rewarding, but it is definitely like a soulful event where this is kind of like me playing with the camera and cars. And I, welcomed my son into the world. And so I was like, I got to quit playing around with cars and, money and all that stuff. So, but yeah, so that I did a bunch of like review stuff. And then William, who was doing the SIP panel with the over at Middleton, he bought this retired ambulance and was like, hey, I'm going to start make it into a camper conversion kind of around COVID times. And so I just started following him around with the camera and did a whole ambulance series, and I had running water, recirculating shower, fully 4 panels of solar on the roof. He's the guy that talk about it. Like I said, I was
okay, wait, which video should I bring up to show the camper?
So you can just kind of scroll down because you're in all the videos there, and then you're going to see, keep on going down. There's any one of those ones with the campers. Those are kind of some of that one's a boring one. That one's just us kind of talking, but yeah, you can click on, tell you what's a good one. Yeah. That one right there you just had with the marble shower. That one, he actually, well, I keep saying he, but we took the styrofoam, polystyrene and coated it with epoxy. So you have to be over the gross vehicle weight, when it's turned into titled as a camper, you have to make sure that it meets, we didn't put a bunch of 2x4s and crap that weighed it down. And so his genius, like I said, he's like genius MacGyver. So you can, I'm trying to think of the name, the stone coat epoxy, where they're putting these in, they meet code, and you put them in houses. So you take polystyrene and you coat it with epoxy, and he was marbling it, put that in so it saved on weight. It looks good. He covered it with a matte finish, and so it's not shiny, but you could have glossy finish with it. And so he's got a mini split. That's all the hand cut teak. Him and I cut all that teak. He took all those cabinets. They were kind of like builder grade cabinets that he cut down to fit in there. There's a wrap on green toilet in there. There's a sliding magnetic lock.
Wait, so the marble is a false marble, or I lost you?
Yeah, that's styrene coated with epoxy. That's faux marble. That's not real.
That's great.
Yeah, watch.
Go ahead.
Look it up, Ron. It's a very good channel. It's very informative. I follow them, and they're very informative.
Oh, wow. This is awesome. Oh, you've seen this channel before?
No, I follow the Stone Coat countertop guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Stone Coat's amazing. And that's where we ordered their epoxy, and you can marble it and add different colorant to it, and they're pretty fancy.
Peter, throw that in the chat for me. Stone Coat. Stone Coat. All right.
Oh, and it's crazy. Behind him, that Murphy bed is hooked up to an ATV winch, and it lowers down out of the wall. Yeah, it's pretty.
This is awesome.
Yeah. You have to get him on the show because he's pretty. I don't know if he's doing. Yeah, I'm not sure. And all those fixtures are fixed up there. So that was kind of one of the things that we were doing with the channel at one point before I took an office job and didn't. I quit following around with the camera, and he actually bought a second RV. We were going to do that one. We started lifting it, doing all this stuff, or, I was there at his house helping him lift it. And it's just one of those things that went to the wayside, but it was a real fun adventure while it was happening,
Yeah, everything's kind of like through chapters. Oh, this is pretty cool. So you have hot water on demand.
Yeah, propane. Hot,
oh, okay.
Yeah, propane water heater.
It's probably nice and quiet in there because it's probably insulated, right? The ambulance.
Rock wool, so it was like a shade tree going in there. That thing was super efficient. Really rock wool everywhere. And then you turn on the shower. The shower was on a recirculating system with he could tell you the micron filter. There's a huge filtering system. So instead of like an RV that goes to a gray tank, it would recirculate. So you could use it, for a while until you had to change out your filter. So he was really like innovating everything, and so we would go out on our lunch and bust out some time on this, or come in before school or after school and film it together, and kind of did this little series. And then he ended up selling it. We just made a joke on Instagram, like, oh, we should list it for sale. And then these people started reaching out, but it was an old bomb squad vehicle. And so we did this whole build, and it was funnest time of our life. There's a lot of like good chemistry, him and I. Yeah, look at the wires, a lot of good chemistry, him and I, stuff that was just fun and funny.
That's great, man.
And, we did all this. That was the VW. We pulled the engine out, and we were cutting down the teak. So it's, him doing most of the work and me, sidekicking it.
Nice. Well, someone's got to film it. I mean, you can't do everything.
Yeah, we were a good duo. And I'm like, why'd you sell the ambulance? He's like, you were my hype man. And so it's just one of those things. Like, we were a good combo, but it was a fun adventure for both of us, for sure.
That's awesome. Do you ever take them on a road trip?
We went. What we got? We actually got an induction cooktop donated, like a $10,000 cooktop. The ones where you can touch it, you don't get burned. Or it would be mounted under like a quartz or a granite think granite, like a quartz countertop. So that was my part of the deal. I would go out and make all these connections. I'm like, hey, I got this hooked up. And so we got that for the next build, for this other one that we were doing. And so we were, anyways, long story short, but yeah, it's a good time.
I like it. That's awesome, man. So, okay, cool. Now, what else did you do on this channel here?
Lots of stuff. I mean, one of the little references there, we pulled the engine out of his Volkswagen, drove around. I did a lot of stuff personally on my own. I was working on cars, and I bought a 67 Galaxy from Orlando, like an hour away, trailered it at home. It didn't run. It was out in the street, got it running, had to rebuild the transmission, rebuild the whole damn engine pretty much. And, that was one of them. That's that black Galaxy. But I didn't really film anything. Don't click on it. It's a terrible video. I actually had to go track down the guy I sold it to, and I just kind of talked about it like a dum-dum when I started the channel. Oh, I had a Cummins swap diesel. So you see that bluish green truck? And so I got Summit Racing. They sponsored. So that was a 12-valve Cummins. It's a 1,100 pound dry motor or engine.
Wow.
And so that was Cummins swap. I bought it pre-swap, but I did a ton of work on the thing. And it was coming out the hood, and I actually hooked up a agricultural hose to that, and I put that on the back of a boat. So I was using the engine exhaust to you guys are like, this guy's a weirdo, right? But my buddy, who is a what do you call it? A librarian at one of the teacher schools here. He owns one of the biggest old antique outboard engine companies in the country that sells and refurbishes engines and stuff like that. So he came over, we had a boat, and I had a waterway behind my house, and we used the discharge from the exhaust on that to power a boat to see if we could do it. And so there's a little video on that. A lot of stupid stuff that I was like,
Wait, okay, hold on. You're moving the boat
Yeah. If you click out, I'll show you where it's at. It's up there.
What the?
It didn't turn out as good as you would think, but so if you scroll down, keep going.
Go to popular?
No, it's definitely not popular. Just go to videos.
Okay.
Yeah, and just scroll down. Yep, and just keep going. Keep going. Yeah, I did a lot of weird. And then I got into this 12-hour stuff. All right, slow down. So keep going down a little bit. Here we are. Right there. 12-valve Cummins diesel hater pipe powered John boat. Right there, that guy. Yep, click on that. So just for 2 seconds, you'll see what happens. So we hook up the pipe to the thing, hook it up to the back of a boat. And then that's my backyard. There's my buddy. And then I go rev it up. So it worked, kind of.
Okay, I got you. So it's like a jet.
Yeah, it was just a dumb thing, when we realized that it needed to be a smaller nozzle. So, but it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of waste in a piston engine. You got to use it for something. I mean,
yeah. Basically, this channel is just like me playing around like a 5-year-old boy, basically.
That's great. That's what honestly, we're always looking for a project for the Shop Class podcast. We did a get together last summer, and we did an off-grid system for Matt out in Taylorville. And we want to come up with a summer project or something, at least maybe a weekend or something. And so, yeah, we need something fun, but also good for the community. So we're open to ideas. Looks like you're definitely an idea guy. This is pretty good. I've never seen anything like this.
I don't lack ideas. Oh, hold on. You want to see another one? Oh, and then I'll get off this. I took two 26-inch sawmill blades and I plasma cut them and I put them on the diesel and drove around, which is stupid, and dressed up in a rat suit. I was trying all kinds of stuff. Keep going. It's pretty cute. Yeah, it's really dumb. And then I was doing
Duke. What do you?
And you see? Oh, okay. Stop here for a second. See that ice cream truck? I started doing 12-hour videos of an ice cream truck thing, and that ice cream truck netted me a lot of money of just 12-hour sound bits of. So I made 96 videos before YouTube shut me down. I was like, hey, you got too many 12-hour videos that are too similar to each other. And I was like, they're all monetized, and I was getting kickbacks and stuff. And I was like, all right, thanks a lot, YouTube. So I had to shut down a lot of them and kept some of the higher ones, but that ice cream truck thing.
Wait.
It's just sound. It's just sound, Rob.
Kyle,
Yeah.
I want to understand what's happening. Nick already knows my question.
I listened to the Gandalf sax thing at school, and it's a 12-hour loop. It's the same premise. It's just the same song over and over, where this is just going to be an ambulance siren for 12 hours.
No way.
Yes.
No, you guys ready for the kicker? You want to hear my best? Okay, you know everybody comments on YouTube, right? You ready for this? So if you back out of this for a second, I did one on a truck backing up where it's like beep, beep, beep. So I kid you not. This is what I got this comment, best comment on YouTube, because I always felt this is kind of like empty and soulless. I'm not helping anybody. But I did one right there. There's a truck backing up, truck therapy, longest 12-hour backup. A mom reached out and said, thank you so much for putting this video on here. She's like, my son has autism. His bus doesn't have the beeper that he used to have, and he's really upset. And he found your video and is so niche. Thank you so much. He listens to it like every day. I'm like, yes, I'm helping somebody, you know? And so anyways, but I did that for
truck therapy. Here we go.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. This was not my greatest work.
I think I may have to put on your 7.3 video at school.
And I have like 95 videos that you guys can't see that are hidden from public, or YouTube will shut down my monetization of like, oh, I did one on a Tesla where I just like made weird noises. Like this is a Tesla for 12 hours. And I did like really bizarre stuff just for giggles. And some of it, like that ice cream song, and it's like, oh, I made $4,000 off an ice cream truck on 12 hours. I'm going to make a video that it's going to, you know, bring money so I can make more.
The best thing I've ever heard was when you said, this is not my best work.
And then check this out. So if you back up for a second, and I know this is turning into like Kyle's stupid video things, but there's one on here. There's and I always say it wrong, an Audi. If you scroll down to, keep going. It's like an Audi, or there's a Volkswagen bus. Okay, click on that green Audi video. Look at the cinematography. Yeah, click on that one. If you click on that one, you'll see like.
Grab your scuba gear, folks, because we're going to dive extra deep on this very rare and infamous Audi RS4. What's so special about this car, you ask? Well, I wouldn't be lying if I said you are looking at the only Audi like it on the planet. That's because this Audi RS4 Avant started its life as an S4 Avant. The engine setup was swapped out with proper RS4 components, and even the S4 automatic transmission was removed to make way for the 6-speed.
So that's me trying.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's like a car channel. This is great.
Yeah, it's a weird hobby, but I don't really do too much with it anymore. I mean, I do, but it's I installed some shelves in my closet. I'm like, I'm gonna do it in my underwear, and I did that, and then YouTube didn't like that, so it's like I just try stuff and see what happens.
It works for the girls.
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, you know, Farmer Tan, nobody enjoyed it. It was really bad.
That's hilarious, man. Oh my god, this is too funny. All right, pretty cool. So you got the channel. You're a shop teacher. And you got the kind of the car YouTube going, and okay, honest review, all weather mats. Okay, is this you?
This is terrible. You don't even click on that. That's another one of I experiment, try different things. So I did that and look at 84 views. But if you go on my shorts, if you click on my shorts, watch this. Click on the shorts. This one I did a little crossover with stuff. So this tool hack one right here, if you click on that one on that end, which they won't let you pick your thumbnail with that terrible square. So I put this one on YouTube on here. I only got 12,000 views, but I put it on TikTok and Instagram for the school accounts, and it got 1.2 million views. And I put this up, 2 days ago or a day or two ago. And so that's the thing. You don't know what's going to happen. Like I put the 3M video on there, and it was a short of the guy from 3M. It's on the shorts on this channel. And between this and TikTok, 23 million views. And so then I had so I'm like, well, we're helping people now because it's talking about safety. It's straight from 3M. And I had one of my students actually rewrote it and then spoke it in Spanish. So then we could reach more people with the safety side of things. So I started putting some of that stuff on here just to try to throw more stuff at the wall. And unfortunately,
yeah, that doesn't look right.
Yeah, and I should have, and I didn't say anything with this one, and this didn't go anywhere either. So it's surprising on like what works and what doesn't. This was like a real rare GTO, and so I just do stuff that interests me. And I have 65 GTO for 27 years. I just sold it at Mecum like 2 years in 2021, and so that was kind of one of those things that, you know, old cars, things like that. That's at
Oh, I
work.
saw
Yeah.
this.
So that was, that's the plumbing build that we're doing. Should have used a level. We're cheating, but it was just off the fly, stupid stuff.
Yeah. No, that's pretty wild. I mean, it's great that, you know, you got a shop teacher that's prolific in communication. I mean, basically you're like a media company as well, and personality. So it's like, yeah, you're the type of shop teacher we need to spread more good ideas. That's very awesome. Pretty cool. Yeah, Peter, what do you think, man? What any thoughts on this?
This is super imaginative, and yeah, just keep your kid going. I mean, just your inner kid shows through, but being that curious and being as experimental as that, you'll prove or disprove many things. It's really good of you.
Oh my God, talk about a burnout. Did you do a burnout and cut through?
It cut through the cement. Like you would think it would dull the teeth, but it would just cut straight down. Cause that truck was heavy. I mean, it's a real heavy truck. Yeah, sit on this one for a second. So this was just, anyways. But I spent money on saw blades, shipped them in, did all this stuff, and the video didn't do well. So I was like, all right. But I think it was like my approach. And so that's the hard thing and the most frustrating thing is like, oh, let me try something, and then you put some heart and soul into it, and then you're like, kind of like you apply for the Harbor Freight thing I applied, like we were talking about earlier, applied, and then you get in the gut, and you're like, well, I'm going to do it again. But then you get up back on the horse and you do it again, and then you're like, all right, this went better this time. And so that's we rhino lined the whole outside of that thing. That's what that was about. You give it 2 seconds, you'll see. So anyways, there's a lot of crossover with that build that I saw. I can take my automotive stuff with what William and I did and bridge it over where we did all that internal cabinetry, building, construction, because him and I were teaching the building construction class, and so that was, let me dabble in this and start some of those kind of like remodel videos and stuff like that. So
yeah. Oh, this is a robot. You're right.
Yeah, and that netted, not on this channel, but you don't know. It'll do something big on one and not on the other, and it's weird.
Man, that's wild. Pretty wild. Matt, what do you think of the saw blade truck?
Dude, that's funny. Like, I mean, I've known about some of this stuff because this kind of like Kyle and I's conversation we really dived deep when we were at LA last year, kind of talking about social media, and obviously I need to get YouTube rolling and on my end and stuff, and I've actually been kind of getting things set up on my side for that. But like he's saying about throwing, on YouTube it may get hardly anything, and then all of a sudden on TikTok it blows up or whatever. Like that, I've had the same thing as far as the posts go. Like we had, especially when people get fired up on your post, like that's the key, man. You gotta get the haters and the trolls going, because once they get going on it, man, that's when things go nuts. That I found, I didn't do anything on purpose. It was just I actually demonstrated I showed the video of the kids putting in the foundation, and people on like one of the TikToks was, and I don't have much on TikTok. I mean, it was like, I haven't even looked. I think at one point I know it was over 40,000 views pretty quickly. And it was just like, Jesus, people, like, and then on Instagram, I think it did okay. Maybe had maybe been one of my 10,000 views or something. But, and then me and Mark Willie have one that's gone well over 100,000 views on Instagram. So I don't know. I've kind of found like, you also have like these, your currency ratios, right? Like, 10,000 views on Instagram is pretty good, but 10,000 views on TikTok, it's kind of easy to get, right? It's one of those weird things. And I know we talked about this barber check before, same thing. Like, he's blown up on TikTok and stuff, but then on Instagram, maybe it wasn't as much or whatever. So it's kind of funny just to kind of see. And you're right. It's one of those things you can sit there and try to like, oh, this one's going to be a good video. I think it's going to do good. And it's just like crickets. And then all of a sudden you just throw one on there like in 5 minutes. And maybe that's the key. You just don't think about it. You put something on. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, wow, that one, I just happened to check my reels. That one has like 10,000 views already. And you're just like, I put zero thought into that. And so I don't know. I don't try to, I pay attention to algorithm a little bit, but at the same time, I think for me, I'm just trying to stick to kind of putting the things out there that I've been doing. It seems to be working, and that's kind of what YouTube's going to be. I'm going to start pretty much just like I do with LinkedIn and TikTok. After Instagram, any of my reels I'll put over on YouTube Shorts, and then do a little bit longer format things for the sake of having it on there in education and be able to look things up too, also for reference for my own sake, and be able to send people that way and stuff too. So yeah, like I said, I never know. Of course, whenever I get to collaborate with some of the big people on Instagram, of course those do well, but that's because of, they got 1 million followers and stuff. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's fun, man. Kyle had me all jazzed up and hyped up about talking to him. That, like I said, when we were the Harbor Freight Tools for Schools this summer or last summer.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's like it kind of starts real practical. I think if there's a shop teacher listening, you just start by putting these lessons out there so that your students can see them, like how to use the drill press. How many times am I going to teach that? I'd rather just make a video about it. How to use this tool or that tool. I just throw the videos here, use this, use that. How do you solder? Okay, here, try this first. And then when you hit a wall, call me, So that's kind of, I use it like a practical way at first, and then try and do some other stuff.
So real quick, Ron, for example, my post yesterday or day before, whatever it was, with the balloons that are connected to our windows for pressure release.
Oh yeah.
Got like 2,800 views, right? So mine anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000. It's getting kind of standard on Instagram for me. That's not uncommon to hit. Then when I'm in IBS, just writing my name, putting Bloomy on the Sashko siding had 7,500. There's nothing. Like, it's me talking, writing my name and call.
Yeah, I remember this. Well, the exciting part, I don't know, for me is seeing a teacher collaborate with, a major manufacturer. So I think that maybe there's a teacher watching this. I don't know. I don't know what the audience is, I guess. Pretty wild. And was that a collaboration? Yeah, there's 2 people on here.
Yeah, I think I threw the bearded cider on there. Yeah, so he's got a pretty good following. Sean, he's a blast, man. That dude is a goofball. He's fun to watch. But yeah, like looking through my reels here, like when I did the air vent things for the attic vents, like almost 42,000 or just over 41,000 views. And I mean, all it is some Luan and some one bodies. Like, it's just kind of weird what hits. And I mean, I have collaborations on there too, which I'm sure helps out. But if a discussion gets going, I think that's it. Because especially whether it's good discussion or people trolling or hating, because the algorithm doesn't care. All it cares about is that there's traction. So we're going to keep showing it. Because it's one of those things like, so on this one, all of a sudden, also like it'll kind of hit real hard right at the beginning when it just seems to catch traction right away sometimes. And then all of a sudden for like 3 days, I just keep getting likes or, and it's like, they're still pushing it, So I don't know. It's like I said, I guess it's just one of those things you just got to, without a big following, you just got to get good, it just has to catch that traction, and you can work, on trying to time it in the best, most opportune times and things like that. But yeah, looking at some of these things that I have like 30 and 40,000 views on. Oh, the wall frame was 97,000, or the foundation one was 97,000. And all I was doing was showing a highlight. And like I said, I'll have views or videos before that. And I thought, oh, this is really cool. People may think this is neat. And so they'll just get hooked on one thing on a comment. I don't know. It's just weird. So I know when it goes, but I don't know what I did to make it go.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't always have that answer. In fact, I very rarely have that answer.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You just never know, and everything, timing's everything. I mean, I actually have a comment. I don't know how to find it right, but I wrote a comment on a Ford Ranger website or Instagram, And because I had a Ford Ranger for 16 years and I paid $1,000 for it. I think I put like $3,000 into it. So like $4,000 over 16 years, saved so much money. I still have it. I'm actually going to dig it out of storage this week. And the comment went to like 1,000. All these people liked it. I was like, wow, this is so funny. Everybody's into Ford, there's like a Ford Ranger culture. Anyway, so let's bring it back, get into some of the other facets that Kyle has, brought into the world here. And, it's awesome, man. There's a lot of stuff you've been doing. So should we talk about your home renovation?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter too much. That's just side stuff, after school.
Nice.
I teach during the day. And so, feeling that same frustration where Matt was, where it's like the ebbs and flows with I could spend time, make what little time I have because I have 2 small kids. It's like, well, I should probably go out and, this is money now. And so this is kind of side business type of thing. Kind of branched off from, like I said, owning some rental properties and kind of turning over some real estate and things of that nature. And my wife's in like a moms group, Moms of South Tampa. So it's kind of a group locally around here. So I just do a lot of work near my house. And it's been really good. More work than I can handle, and what it's taught me is, I've, like I said, done business paperwork for a while, but not this type of business ownership. I've never been a business owner. I've always worked for other people. So this is beneficial to my students because, I've got a student that's in there that, has insurance, has a small kind of handyman business. So it's like, all right, what kind of work can you do? What kind of work can't you do? What do you need to get your license? What do you, what are all the ins and outs? So it's given me a lot of, ammunition, so to speak, to like help my students move forward and help them, like bringing in stories and, what different tools and what different things that help them go that route if they decide to go that way. And it's been a really good adventure so far, and I enjoy it, but it's always balancing life and family and work.
So, hey,
Yeah,
Kyle,
that's
quick question. I do the same thing. I launched the Tail Handyman service last year, last summer and stuff. And then this last week of spring break. So Thomas Nichols, who we've had on the show, my former student, now teaches with me. He works with me. And then Thomas Gettings, who's a current student, he works for me. My high school, my current student, he's a senior, so he's going to graduate. And he's like, hey, I'd just rather work for you all summer than go back and do with the other company he's been working for. Because for me, it's like all small projects and I pay him better. And so they worked a lot this over spring break. And I don't get to do much. I'm at the point where, I do as much as I can when I can, because like I said, family and everything else and things going on, and just trying. And I got my own property that I used to live in that we're trying to finish off to actually sell. And so for me, I'm more of the investor on the side of it. But the nice thing is being the teacher where all the young talent's coming up. I get to weed through, find the talent, and then I hire them.
Dude, that's awesome.
It works great. Like I got Thomas and Thomas, and like literally they go, and I did very little. I pay them. I pay my high school student $20 an hour before taxes, and Thomas Nichols, who teaches with me, I pay him $30 an hour. And so technically I make less than they do, but the money making off of them and stuff. So I don't have to put as much time in it, but it's a nice little side gig. And it's one of those things, if I could find somebody that worked full time, or even like a retired professional that just wanted, hey, however many hours you want a week, I'll try to rack that up. Like you could make good money, good side money without having to put a lot of the physical hours in. And since it's all small projects, none of the projects are physically that daunting. And even if they are, they only last a few hours or a day or two. Like we're looking for projects. We're looking for all the small stuff. Because when I had a company myself, we had no time to do small projects. Like oh, it's so easy. All we need is one window done. Yeah, but we're only going to make a few $100s off this window, but we're got these projects that we're making thousands off of that we can't pull away, even though it only take us an hour to swap out your window. There's just no time. But for us, like, it's like you're just picking up all the leftovers, and there's a lot of leftovers, even in our small town.
You're hitting it on the head, Matt, and that's what is great working with students and trying to get them to understand. There's a ton of money to be on the table on the smalls, and some of my guys were like, "What's your ideal job that you want to pick up?" I was like, "Give me every toilet paper holder that I can install, and that's my ideal job. Like, give me all the small. I'll hang curtains and paper towel." There's a guy here in Tampa called Handy Andy that's on Instagram, and I gotta go watch him, guys. I'm like, he just does that all day long. He's hanging, towel rack holders, just you name it. And I think it's an ideal format. He charges $90 an hour, 2-hour minimum, and he's booked all the time. And I'm like,
Yep, easy.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Keep going.
No, that's interesting. I also I also hire my students. I've got a side business where I teach introduction to welding, introduction to small engines, and introduction to electric vehicles. And I used to hire welders here and there and whatnot to help with the classes, but then some of my students graduated and I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to work on the weekend and just help me teach?" And that's what they would do in the classroom anyway. My seniors, by the time you get to the senior year with me, you're kind of like a teacher's assistant. I can't do everything, so I'm like, okay, hey, let's, help me out with these freshmen coming in or whatever. And then they're really good. They're really nice. They understand the beginner's mindset because they're so close to it, but yet they're so far because they know how to do it. So yeah, I'm all for it, man. And I'm surprised that more businesses aren't recruiting right out of the high school and I don't mean these fast food jobs and this nonsense, like really companies should be talking to the shop teachers about hiring their students like all the time.
Yeah. And like Matt said it the best, like you get the top pick and which guys, you have them for 14 months for me. I'm like, that guy's great. That's guy. I just had a cohort come in and they're like, "Who do we want to hire?" I'm like, "Well, I'll tell you exactly which ones you want to hire." Because they put for, you see them every day. But I think it's great for them, great for us, Yeah.
Pretty cool. So let's switch gears one more time, and then we'll probably try, start to wrap up the recorded part of this. I want to talk about your Harbor Freight situation. So that's an impressive thing. So want to tell us a little bit about the journey of winning Harbor Freight and all the benefits that came with it? What did you have planned for the money, stuff like that?
It was life-changing. It's been the best thing as a trade instructor that has ever happened to me. I mean, it's fantastic. And William, who I've talked to a few times, I encouraged him to apply. He applied last year or a couple of years ago. And it's the same thing. We all have to do it more than once. Everyone doesn't, unless you're really good, get it on that first try. And I'm like, "Oh, you got to do it again." And they get kind of, it's very easy to get discouraged. It happened to me. But it's such a great process. It really helps you learn how to write. It helps you be creative. I reached out to our grant department and said, "Hey, we actually had a grant department in our district. We're the 7th largest district in the country. I'm like, is there any way you can help me?" And they like looked at my thing and they're like, "Yeah, it's good." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "There's a lot of money on the table, But anyways, it's one of those things, like what resources are out there that you guys, you can pursue. But the networking has been phenomenal. When I went into the private industry working, at ABC, Associated Builders or whatever, I wasn't a shop teacher anymore. And so what I was actually introduced, they brought me on what they call the Harbor Freight Leadership Lab. And that was through the Drucker Institute at the time. And now it's Bendable Labs with Polana Tiller, who does a lot of stuff with Matt knows her and everyone else that's connected through that. And so that gave me an opportunity to write a pilot project that would change my program and what would be good. And it was, I can't remember. I think it was a full year, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, through that, initiative, we were working on like, what's the biggest dilemma in the trades and what's the biggest problem in the industry, and how do we fix that? And long story short, they drag all this information out of you in creative ways. And my big thing was, how do I bring more industry into my program? Because I see it benefits us for supplies monetarily. It connects students, they network, they get jobs. You know, that was my big goal. How do I bring them in? And so that it's been life-changing working with them, and the pilot that came off of that. And then when they have different initiatives in the summer, that's why I'm here talking to you guys, you know, getting connected with, you know, Matt, and then Matt got me connected with Sashko, and now Noli, who you guys had on last week, Noli, who's in Montana. Then I reached out to her. She doesn't teach at the high school, even though she has a high school girl program. She can't apply for the Harbor Freight Tools for Schools, but I was able to connect her to Bendable Labs. And so now she's doing kind of that leadership lab and connecting that way. So she'll be with different administrators from around the country. And we were, you know, so like there's this great network, and it's been the best experience, hands down. You know.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I hope that I can be a part of this. This is amazing. You want to just tell me a little more about Bendable? I mean, it might seem obvious what it is, but I don't really understand what I'm looking at here. What is this?
So Bendable Labs is a different name. So what it was is, so there's a lady, her name's Polana Tiller, and Jamie, oh goodness, I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of her last name off the top of my head, but great group of individuals. Those are just a couple of the names, kind of the big faces behind this. They used to be with what they call the Drucker Institute, which was off the teachings of Peter Drucker, who's kind of like a businessman that has phenomenal means of communication and all kinds of other fantastic things. And so they were connected through one of the schools out there. And so they didn't really see how the Drucker Institute fit in with the Harbor Freight, you know, what they were doing. And so they branched off from the university to kind of start this Bendable Labs. And you know who'd really be good on here, even though they're not a shop teacher, would be actually Polana herself, to see what they're doing. And she works directly with Harbor Freight and working with us and setting up when we get together. She orchestrates all these beautiful things that we do to kind of come together and create and benefit from our time together. They're just masterminds of creativity and you know, fighting the good fight to bring everyone together and whatnot. So it's probably, yeah, so there's Polana, Jamie, and then some really phenomenal people. I can see him peeking out there with his glasses. And their guest speakers, Rick Wartson. If you look at him, he does a lot of big stuff. He does a lot of publishing. He just did a big thing on in Washington, D.C., I believe, and all kinds of research-based initiatives on making our industry better, essentially.
Wow, that's cool. I'm so glad someone's working on it. I mean, honestly, like, you know, this might sound corny or whatever. It felt like I was alone when I first started teaching. You only have like the guy next door to you, and then if he retires, who are you going to talk to about how hard it is to build the projects with students and how to connect all these dots? So that's why I made sure that, you know, I try and make a really good program, do innovative stuff, and then make sure we connect with the other shop teachers, but also industry. So we don't just, on Shop Class Podcast, we're not just interviewing shop teachers. So we've interviewed people that work at NASA, people that put in terrazzo floors, people that, you know, like anything that, you know, Duke, can you remember some of the guests we had on here?
So we had like, you know, guys who make toys. I'm sure the other guys can chime in. What else?
3D printers.
Yeah, well, Kyle, you might remember Peter from Harbor Freight Tools for Schools. What's Peter's last name? Anyways, one of the winners.
Shell?
We had 3D printer vendors.
Yeah, 3D printers. We've had the people. We've had Jimmy
motorcycles.
We had George.
We've had Jimmy on here.
Skidmark Garage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The guy in Cleveland, MotoGo.
Moto. Yeah.
Now, not all these are up, right? Not all these are up.
A lot of them are. I'm getting better at putting them up there.
We've had the people who've done TV shows. We had the guy that did the Burning Man things.
Oh yeah, model railroad.
Oh, we had Gadget on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Gadget. That was cool.
So
Mark Adams.
speaking of Falana that Kyle's talking about, this is the person I've talked to you about a little bit, Ron. She is, and I told her this. I told her when we were in LA, I was like, Falana, you should be a CIA recruiter. Like, the lady is at a phenomenal eye for talent and can get anything out of you, like in a good way. Like, she's a very impressive person. Would you agree, Kyle? Like that? And I told her that. She goes, that would be my dream job, Matt.
Yeah, she's a character, and that's that whole leadership lab is they sit you down and they just like, well, what's the problem, and that how come there's a skilled trades gap, and what would make you as a shop teacher better, and like they asked you questions to just start, and over months and months and months, and like what is this far off distant thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I realize this is the problem. I realize that this, to try to get the answers, and what can we put in place? What can they help you fund, right? So they put forth funding. Part of my pilot project was actually, getting building code books and some things of that nature. But my big thing was like, how do I conjoin with the industry? And since I'm from Illinois and I'm not down in Florida, I was like, I need to get my contractor's license so I can, be more attractive to these guys that come in and they're like, well, who's this fly by night guy that's teaching this shop class? Oh, they come, oh, you're licensed, you're one of us. Okay, cool. That was kind of like part of the project. And it was interesting because I submitted that and everyone's like, hey, who's this guy that's trying to get this contractor's license? He's just going to get money so he can take it and go off here and not do anything with it. And Plana was like, you have to invest in the person. And, obviously Kyle could do that, but, we've spent X amount of time with him and we see what it's doing. And that has been life and game changing in my program, coming from that benefit from it, because now I've branched out. That's gave me the courage to start my business, which has changed. It's not even a business. It's not like a monetary thing. It's a experiential thing that I bring back to my class. It's changed. The reason I wanted that license, I had a girl sitting in class going, I want to get my general contractor's license. I'm like, I don't know how to tell you how to get there. I don't know how to tell you to take the test. I had to study for like 8 months. I had to go through this real rigorous course on Saturdays to learn all this real difficult math that, there's a whole training program. It's like a $6,000 training program to get just to take the test in Florida. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure it's difficult everywhere else and for good reason, but to go through all that for the benefit of the students, like that's my goal. And so they put us through that, and it's been game changing for the program. And I just can't speak anything more about them and how they've kind of changed that shape by drawing that out of you and creating a pilot and for the better of the students. And that's just part of it. Everyone else has, different ideas and initiatives, but my big thing was like, how do I get more industry? All right, let me align myself with them first. And they're like, it's a dumb idea, but they went for it. And it's been the best thing that's ever happened to the program itself. Not me personally, the program.
No,
I thought about using some of my money, Kyle, for my passive house certification, like trades person or educator, stuff like that. I was just thinking about that the other day and stuff, because even though I don't intend on building passive houses outside of this as a professional, I mean, not that I wouldn't, like if the opportunity came either for myself or for somebody, I would, but like it would be solely for, and I was thinking it was hard for justification to spend this money, which isn't near $6,000, but still it's a chunk of change, spend this money to do the training, get the certificate that I'm literally only using to have the knowledge to teach. Like, I mean, the way I look at it, it's like, so the school would help me pay for my master's in construction management, which was great. That was fine. But it's like, they probably won't help me for this, even though it's way less money than a master's. But since it's not through like a certified college, it's one of those things I'll have to go pitch an idea of, hey, this is very specific to what we're doing in some of the best training I can get for what I'm teaching. But because there's not the word university tacked on to be behind it, they're probably going to be like, no, we're not going to pay for that. It's not in their contract. It's like, what's education? Like, what is that? What's higher level education? Like, what's the definition, right? And how is this not? So I get what you're saying. I've got that same thing with the passive house side of things running through my head right now.
Yeah, and like this training, I got my OSHA training like 9 years ago to be the OSHA trainer, and I've trained hundreds, like 600 people, right? And that the school had to pay for that, and that was, it's $1,400. I'm like, hey, I know this is a big cost, but it will benefit hundreds of students, and so.
You're muted, Ron.
It's like the cavalry has arrived, like the right people are getting together. And everybody should be working towards bettering themselves. And it does take a group to encourage each other. So this is really great stuff hearing. Like once you say out loud what you want to do, it is pretty scary to look at the steps that it takes. And then you guys said that was one of the best things is that's what this group does is they focus on getting you guys, getting you to the next level. Pretty cool. You guys there? Okay, there we go. My computer's acting funny. Anyway, this is exciting. So let's end the recording there. I think this was a great interview. Super excited about applying for the Harbor Freight Tools for Schools and also connecting the dots. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you taking your time. There's so much stuff to talk about. I feel bad all that modern greaser stuff, but it was like,
no, we like that stuff. What are you talking about?
What's amazing is here we all are talking, and the biggest value benefit was I connected with Satcham North Carpentry in New York. I don't even know the guy's name, but he sent me plans, and then we drew up plans on CAD, and we sent plans back to him. And, and then I had different trade videos on TikTok where a kid was in Chicago area, and he's like, hey, I want to get into a school like yours. I'm like, well, where are you at in Chicago? Not creeper style, but he was like, where roughly where do you live? And he's like, this is kind of my area. I'm like, here's a, union hall, like within walking distance of your house in like a really kind of rough area. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. And so it gives us the opportunity, like that's what we get paid for. Like we're not people like monetary people. It's like we're all here for that experience of like, whoa, I just helped this dude across the country potentially get into a trade school because I put some videos like Matt's doing, like where I'm talking about stairs or I'm talking about pitch or whatever. And like that's the exciting part about that whole social media experience for me, why I don't dabble in the cars, because it's not helping anybody like that, I guess,
Yeah, well, I didn't even know what an R value was until I started talking to all the Shop Class podcast people. And to me, it's super cool. Like learning and watching the blower door test is like mind blowing to me. That is a leak down test of engines, So that's your compression ratio right there. So I'm just like, wow, you could check for leaks on a house. I thought they all leak. And then Peter is like, no. Peter, do all the houses leak?
Yes, they do.
I didn't know about blower door test until Matt put a video up. I'm like, what is this? What's a passive house? Thank you, Matt.
And this is the way that houses should be standard built across the country. No question, no extras. Just do that as a build. And it'll be easier and less expensive to operate the house or any building after it's finished. And it'll be more comfortable, pest-free.
Nice. And then, as far as coming up with ideas, Kyle, as far as I'm concerned, you're on board with us now. So sorry, I hate to add one more thing, but you're now part of our think tank. So we got to come up with a crazy idea for this summer. It's kind of late in the game, so it doesn't have to be so crazy, but we definitely have to have at least one get together and build something. So
I love late in the game. Crazy
Oh yeah,
ideas, so
we contacted
I'm
you
in.
yesterday. So yeah, so
That's how we do
yeah,
it.
man, that was awesome. Pretty cool. So all right, well, we'll end the recording here and we'll hang out for a couple minutes. Pretty cool. Kyle, thank you so much. Keep the fire going, man. This is really cool. Using new materials, getting certifications, collaborating, starting businesses. Awesome. Very awesome. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Shop Class Podcast. Yeah. Okay. Let's end the recording there. Thanks for listening. See you next week.